parents of Jesus went to Jerusalem for the festival of Passover. And when he was 12 years old, they went up as usual for the festival. When the festival was ended and they started to return, the boy Jesus stayed behind in Jerusalem, but his parents did not know it. Assuming that he was in the group of travelers, they went a day's journey. Then they started to look for him among their relatives and friends. When they did not find him, they returned to Jerusalem to search for him. After 3 days, they found him in the temple, sitting among the teachers, listening to them and asking questions. And all who heard him were amazed at his understanding and his answers. When his parents saw him, they were astonished. And his mother said to him, "Child, why have you treated us like this? Look, your father and I have been searching for you in great anxiety." He said to them, "Why are you searching for me? Did you not know that I must be in my Father's house?" But they did not understand what he said to them. Then he went down with them and came to Nazareth and was obedient to them. His mother treasured all these things in her heart. And Jesus increased in wisdom and in years and in favor with God and human beings. Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Good morning.
Good morning.
As some of you know, my dad was a Philadelphia cop, and my mom was a 100% Italian Philadelphia mom. Tony's dad was a truck driver, and his mom, Elaine, who's sitting back there with us today, is a 100% Irish Catholic Philadelphia mom. You know, our parents, as probably yours were, incredibly loving people for their kids, probably more so than any of us actually knew at the time. They were also strict. And I sit here wondering, what would have happened to me, my brothers, Tony, if we had gotten lost for 3 days and never told them about it? It would not have been a very pleasant evening, I can assure you. And one other little thing, I mean, not to be blasphemous, whatever, but I have this kind of weird image in my head of Mary and Joseph kind of standing there in front of God, and God going, "What the? You lost the Messiah?" That would have been one I'll take to tell. Oh, he was there, he was going. Okay. So this story is kind of an oddball story. And it gets you wondering why it's here. What's it trying to say? You know, we've been talking about the infancy narratives of Luke and Matthew. Within the framework of Luke's infancy narrative, to be fair to Mary and Joseph, I bet things were starting to calm down since those momentous time in Bethlehem, you know, into something of a more day-to-day rhythm of life. No more heavenly host of angels. No more adoring shepherds. No more Old Testament prophecies. Magi long gone, and the stars long dimmed, and it's just everyday life in Nazareth. Blessedly ordinary. Yet, I'm sure that Luke's Mary and Joseph knew that their son was exceptional, and that he was here on a mission, and that one day he'd start to show. I mean, surely Joseph could not have forgotten the vision of the angel that said, "Don't be afraid to take Mary as your wife, even though the child's not yours." And then the other angel that said, "Get the two of them onto a donkey and get to Egypt because Herod's coming after you." needs to be saved from the murderous rampage. And certainly Mary could not have forgotten that amazing day when the angel Gabriel came to her and said, "Do not be afraid, Mary, for you have found favor with God. You will bear a son. You will name him Jesus. He will be known as the Son of God. And his Father in heaven will give him David's kingdom, and he will reign forever." I mean, if any of us had any of those experiences, I'm sure we wouldn't have forgotten. And right after this little story about the finding of the temple, of Jesus in the temple, Luke tells about the child's circumcision and the naming ceremony where he's actually named Jesus in the temple. And then there's this presentation later on where according to the law, he had to be consecrated to God. And it was in that scene that once again, this miraculous stuff started to happen. Remember the prophecy of Simeon and Anna that talked about the destiny of this child and told Mary that a sword will pierce your heart as well, you will suffer with it. Can't imagine they forgot. But then Luke goes dead silent. There's nothing in there about the family or the child or how he's being brought up or anything. Until now, at age 12. When he goes off leaving his parents in this frantic search, only to find him in deep conversation with the rabbis. So as I pondered this, why is the story here? I began to see it as an invitation to explore an area of great theological debate that some of you may know something about, called the quest for the historical Jesus. There's some things in that quest that I think you might find fascinating and perhaps even you can find them instructive. It's been going on for a long time. This quest started with writers in the 17th century, and what it really is it's trying to understand the real Jesus, the one who actually walked. So you have to distinguish between the historic Jesus and the historical Jesus. The historical Jesus, by that I mean the flesh and blood man who actually walked the planet. The historic Jesus is the Jesus of the image we have in our heads that have come down to us through all the stories that were told by people after his death and resurrection. After they had already believed in the kerygma. So kerygma, what is that? That's this core set of beliefs that is and was the basis for Christian faith. And it's these three things. Jesus is the Christ, the Anointed One. Jesus is the Son of God, he is God. Jesus is the Savior of the world. Christ, God, Savior. That's the kerygma. And it's these fundamental beliefs that were held by the disciples after they experienced the resurrection, after they experienced the ascension, and after the descent of the Holy Spirit at Pentecost. It fired them up, and it changed them. It's called the kerygma because the word in Greek means seed, or kernel. And what we're saying here is that when the seed is planted in you and it takes roots, it fundamentally changes you. Because when you believe those three things, you don't do things the same way anymore. If you believe, for example, that Christ is God, you couldn't go to the temples and worship the idols. You just couldn't do it. If you believe that Christ is the Messiah and the teacher, and believed what he was teaching, you could no longer disdain those who were less fortunate than you. Very anti-Roman behavior. The kerygma sets you on this collision course with the values of the world. Yet it's through the lens of the kerygma, through all the stories written by those who bought those three fundamental beliefs, that the image of the historic Jesus is created. Of Christ, God, Savior. So what comes through in the Gospels is this resurrected Jesus. When you believe first and you go back and write the story later, the story is a different story. But But is he the same man as the historical person who walked the planet? I mean, if we met him today, would we know? Would we recognize him? Or would he just look pretty ordinary? So clearly, we don't have the whole story. So, for example, although, like I said, Luke's dead silent about it, I can't imagine this 12-year-old boy didn't have friends and happened through his whole childhood, that he played with those friends like any kid would do. I bet he got into mischief once in a while, and then he scraped his knee, and then he got sick, and I bet he had favorite foods that he liked that would take him like so much, I wonder if he ever got angry. I wonder if he ever played a trick on a friend or something, well, maybe with his parents. I wonder if he ever had nightmares. Did he ever have to get corrected by his mom and hear those fateful words, "Wait till your father gets home," that stuff? Was he ever afraid and had to run to his mother's arms for comfort? We know nothing about that. Can't imagine it didn't happen. Things like that. And the gospel tells us he was a carpenter. He had to learn that from his earthly dad, that's for sure. We don't know if he was any good at it. He was a pretty bad carpenter. I also can't imagine that he wasn't really curious about his Jewish faith and his heritage. Because most young people, and most people in that time were very involved. Faith and life was so integrated. At age 12, he's probably preparing for his bar mitzvah. But who knows? I mean, we can speculate, as many of the quests have done, but the historical Jesus is just a little bit beyond our reach. But it's a nagging question that I would submit to all of us here for some conversation and consideration. Try to imagine who this real flesh and blood person was, who this everyday kid really was. And here's the real thing. When did he begin to know who he was? You've all raised kids, many of you. When did they start to figure out what they're about? And in this case, when did he start to figure out he's the Messiah? He's God. He's the Savior. And the corollary to that is, when did his parents begin to see it? I think this story today is this first little hint that Jesus knew who he was at age 12. And we get a little peek as to how it affected his family, because maybe they weren't up on it as much as he was. I mean, later on we hear, when Joseph and Mary had done everything required by the law, they returned to Galilee to their town of Nazareth, and the child grew and became strong and was filled with wisdom, and the grace of God was on him. Sure, the child grew. But Mary and Joseph and the others at Nazareth that made up his extended family, they too must have had something to do with that growth. I mean, wouldn't it? So from whom did Jesus learn this wisdom? How was the grace of God nurtured? It's a question for us. I mean, like I said, many of us are moms and dads, aunts, uncles, or just people with no young kids. How would you have raised Jesus? What would you do to truly understand him? How would you handle the strange behavior that starts to erupt from time to time? And how would you encourage him to grow into his marvelous destiny if he were your child? That's important because, in a very real sense, Jesus is our child. We've all received him into our lives on Christmas. The infant Jesus is now ours, in us. How will we help our child grow up to fulfill his destiny in us? Perhaps we can entrust him with chores. Something we need done, like give us today our daily bread, or keep me safe today. Perhaps we can challenge him with a difficult assignment. Lord, help me through this tough time I'm in right now, because I can't figure it out. Show me the way. Perhaps we can ask him what he would do in a situation to get him thinking about things. Grant me your wisdom, Lord, to know what I must do. Perhaps you just ask for his help. Lord, help me to pray. We probably heap a little praise on it too. You're really wonderful, my Lord. Thank you. Jesus in us wants us to develop him, just as he needed Mary and Joseph and those in Nazareth to develop the real child and walk the streets of that town. We should not let him down. So that's kind of one point. Here's just another one before I wrap up. Jesus' wisdom and grace was on clear display to the elders and the priests of the temple, as we just heard the story. But something's a bit off here. Something's not quite right with Mary and Joseph. Yeah, Jesus wanders off, but if they really knew who he was, if they were seeing and staying up with his coming out, if you will, why were they looking for him in all the wrong places? And why did it take 3 days to find him? If you really understood who your son was, wouldn't going to the temple be the first place you would have looked? Perhaps it's not Jesus who's lost. Perhaps it's Mary and Joseph who are lost. Jesus knows exactly where he must be. His earthly mom and dad did not. You know, in the temple, when Mary says, "Child, why have you treated like this?" which I kind of hear is, "Young man, where have you been?" You know? Mary kind of shows us that she had an expectation of how God should behave, how her son should behave. But the boy Jesus expects his mother to know he can't do just what she wants. He has a higher call. And that higher expectation is not only for him, but it's also for her. I mean, Jesus, after all, didn't come to fulfill our expectations. He came to reset them, to focus them on God. The Messiah is not to be found in the sentiment for the way things used to be, or the way we want them to be, or the way we think they should be. Jesus is about making all things new. He's about conversion. He's about making things godly. He was born, lived, died, and rose to be a witness to God's business. God wants to put an end to our searching by making plain his own way to holiness through Jesus. As Paul said to us today in Colossians, above all, put on love. For that's the bond of perfection. That's the formula. So our gospel implies that way before age 12, the historical Jesus knew something about who he was and what his priorities were all about. Surely he goes back to Nazareth and is obedient to his parents, but his priorities have changed. He's not the same kid. And the story picks up, as you know, from the Gospels, where he finally meets John the Baptist and starts his earthly ministry. If we know Jesus, we know that he's always 1,000% about God's business. And that's the child we must raise in us. One who's 1,000% focused on the will of God. That is, after all, the description of us as well as children of God. No matter what our age is. We'll all grow into adults of faith. We respond to God's love in hearing his word, and experiencing his sacraments. So at today's Mass, I ask us to remember that in Christ Jesus we can expect nothing else but the path to perfection. But we could end our search. May God bless. Amen.
Let's stand and pray. We believe in one God.
one Lord,